Hello gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Benders YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about Cult of the Deep by BA Games, so let's just dive right into it. Cult of the Deep is a game by BA Games. Now this is a hidden role game with a lot of dice, customized dice that are really fun. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the game, and I actually got to play it with two of my fellow Board Benders. I played it with Roberto and Nelson, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Cult of the Deep is a hidden role game where you're going to be using different dice and abilities and basically trying to make sure that your role is the one that wins. So there is a high priest, everyone knows who the high priest is, and then everyone else is kind of basing their gameplay on that and trying to keep who they are a secret. So the high priest has extra hit points, and they'll be protected by the faithful. The faithful are ones that want to see the high priest live until the end of the game, but there are other people, there are heretics and Kabbalists, and they want to see the high priest die. So depending on what they want and who may or may not be alive, they're trying to just straight out the gate attack the high priest. Now, hidden role games like this are very fun. You kind of have to decide what decisions people are making, and sometimes you'll see them attacking each other instead of attacking the high priest, and then you might think that there's someone who's faithful and trying to protect them, but then it may just be that they're attacking one of their fellow Kabbalists because they're not sure if that's who they are, or because they want to throw off the scent and not show that they're one of the bad ones. So that part is really fun. I really enjoy hidden roles. I think it's very fun of a puzzle of deciding, do I start working toward goals? Do I attack people? Do I go for blood right away? So that was very fun. Something else that I really enjoy about this game is that there are custom dice. So in the game, you are completing rituals, and depending on the rituals, different things will happen. And you really want to be the one to complete the rituals to get the different effects that they give. And to do that, you're rolling a 6-sided die, and there are different iconography on each die. So depending on what you roll and what you can do, you can be attacking another player, perhaps doing something for yourself, or contributing to these rituals. So that was definitely something that I think was one of the most important things to do, was going after the rituals. It was very fun when we played. That being said, a little bit of the dice rolling was confusing. So when you have it, you will roll 5 dice per player when it's your turn, and then you will commit the dice somewhere. You can commit them to attacking people, to healing yourself, to the ritual, but then after that, people can change your dice on you. There are abilities that will let them do this. There are also coins that you can pay to do it, but you can recommit someone's die, and that can really change what you're planning to do in the game. Now, as a character, you get a couple extra things. You have your hidden role, but you also get a sigil. A sigil is a one-time use where it's a very powerful effect. I found that those were played at very opportune moments that were very fun. I think that that's something that I could definitely plan better once I know the game a little bit more and I start learning the other sigils. But that was something that you can use in the game. And then another thing that you get is a character card. So you'll get your character card that will have your base HP and a little bit of extra things that you can do. So for example, you could be playing as the Faceless, and they have an ability that once per game you can choose a character card that is not currently in play and replace this card with a new one. So this is one that allows you to change to a different character, and you can also see this would set you at 17 hit points. Now for other characters, you could be a sorceress. And the sorceress says, you may commit a certain type of dice to yourself during the resolve phase. If you have 2 or more of that dice committed to yourself, you may perform an arcane explosion. All but one player of your choice loses 2 life. Now that is a great way to either start taking out the high priest and his followers, or if you're on that side, to start taking out the heretic and Kabbalists. So it's a very fun card, and you can see this would start her at 18 hit points. One thing that we didn't really get to experience in the game is that characters can die. So when we played, the high priest died and I was on their side, and I want to say I died right away, all within the same turn, but you can become a wraith. So once you die, you get a Wraith character card that has different things. So if you're a Wraith, it will give you different things, where, for example, this one is, during a living player's response phase, you may replace 1 die with one of your own, and then discard the replaced die. So that's a way that you can really change something that they were planning on doing. If they were trying to do something to do the final killing blow on the high priest, or if they're trying to complete a final ritual, you can really mess with them as a Wraith. You don't really get to do too much, and the fact that you're dead, you can't really contribute to the winning goals, but you're still able to do something on your turn, which I really appreciate. It's one of those games with hidden roles where you're trying to kill each other, but if you're dead, you're not out of the game, you just have a bit less to work with. Now, the ritual boards are also very well made, in my opinion. They are dual layer boards. It's really fun to track the amounts through it, and it's set up for you that you can easily see which ritual is attributed with which track, and exactly what you need to pay into it. We also have the custom dice, which are really fun and beautiful. They're a bit sparkly, they're very fun and catch my eye. And our copy also came with these velvet bags. So there are different bags for all the tokens in the game, such as the 2 different coins that you can get and for health tracking. And I really love that they're embroidered in velvet and just very fun to have on the table. So, as I mentioned, I was able to play this with both Roberto and Nelson. We played with a few other people, and it was a different kind of experience. I think all of us had a tricky time with learning the hidden role part and who should be attacking who. I'm definitely someone that if I was on the good team and I didn't want anyone to know that right away, so I did attack the High Priest pretty early in the game. It didn't do anything for me because they knew exactly what side I was on and I was not good at hiding it, but it was something that I tried to do. And one other thing was that we played with the Kraken. The Kraken is a different type of ritual that comes out. It's a monster and you fight it, but once you beat it, you become a keeper of that ritual. So Nelson was able to get the Kraken, and after that, subsequently, add these Kraken dice to the High Priest, where he just kept taking damage. It seemed pretty unstoppable. So where it was very cool and something very fun to see, it seemed extremely powerful for gameplay that once that came out, I feel like there wasn't really a way for us to come back from it. We tried our best, but it was, we were wrecked pretty hard. Being a hidden role game, it's definitely something that takes a certain type of group that's willing to play with something like that. That being said, I do think that the dice rolling is very engaging, and where you're working toward the rituals, you're not always attacking outright the other players, that it adds a little bit of an extra element that you can play with. I'm definitely looking forward to exploring having different roles and different character cards. That I would love to see more of the sigils and how they interact with the game. I'm definitely looking into diving into this one more just to see how deep it can get, especially with higher player counts. I believe this goes up to 8 players, and when we played we were only at 5. So I'm very curious what an 8-player game looks like. It's something that I'll definitely hopefully try during spooky season. We'll see if I can make it happen, but lately it's been hard to get that many players to the table. I feel like 5 was a little bit light. I wonder if maybe at 6 or more it would have felt a little bit better, but it did feel a bit tricky doing what we needed to do. And this was just a look at Cult of the Deep by BA Games. This game was sent to the Board Vendors to play with. This is not a sponsored video at all, but it was sent to us, and I am so happy that I got to play it with some of my fellow Board Vendors. We will be at PAX Unplugged. I'm wondering if I can get the crew together then so that we can play again with even more of us. But if you want to check this one out, I will have links down below, and we will see you guys next week.